It's safe to say that I've become familiar with Pokemon items recently, thanks to my various challenges that involve collecting every item in one game here on YouTube. However, there's plenty of items across the 9 generations that you probably never grabbed during a typical playthrough. And I'm not talking about hidden items, because let's be honest, most of us walk right by those. And no, I'm also not referring to iconic objects like the Lychee Berry on Mirage Island, because everyone already knows about them. Instead, I'm focusing on more common items, most of which can be purchased in a Pokemart or department store, but for whatever reason, these specific ones are placed so far out of the way, and they're so unnecessarily difficult to obtain, that 95% of Pokemon players probably never bothered to get them. As a matter of fact, a lot of these I didn't even know about until creating this video. So without further ado, make sure to hit that sub button, as it really does help out the channel, and let's check out some items you never obtained in Pokemon. Our deep dive begins in the Johto region, and more specifically with Pokemon Crystal. The national park plays home to Pokefan Beverly, who will only register her number in your Pokegear if you have a Marill in your party. On top of that, she'll sometimes hand you a nugget if you come back to her after she's given you a call. Considering that Marill can't be caught until later in the game, and there's no real reason to return to the national park, I'd be surprised if many people knew about this nugget, unless y'all are all just greedy and trying to get as many Pokédollars as possible. A similar situation takes place on Route 39 with Pokefan Derek, but this one's even worse, as he won't give you his number until you have a Pikachu, which can't be found until the post-game. Now, maybe these two tell you on the Pokegear that they have a gift, which would be an indicator, but trust me, things only get more niche from here. Staying in Pokemon Crystal, a few regular trainers give out items only after defeating them multiple times. This means that not only would you have to give these trainers your number, which I've seen some people not do because of how annoying it gets, but you'd also have to take time to backtrack and accept their request. Nonetheless, this small category includes Birdkeeper Vance's Carbos after your second rematch on Route 44, Sailor Huey's Protein after your third rematch in the Olivine Lighthouse, and Youngster Joey's HP up after your fourth rematch on Route 30. Moving ahead to the Generation 3 games, Pokemon Emerald features some almost useless items that can only be received by performing one of the in-game trades. For instance, this girl in Fortree City will trade you a Plusle holding Woodmail in return for a Volbeat, who, mind you, has a 1% chance of being encountered in this game, and you can get Woodmail much quicker in the Trick House anyways. The same goes for this Chesto Berry held by a Seedot in Rustboro City, who will be given to you in exchange for Ralts, a 4% encounter in Emerald, and a piece of Retro Mail, which is attached to a Meowth who will be traded over for Skitty, a 2% encounter on Route 116. Now, I'll cut the Retro Mail some slack, as that is the only way to get your hands on it in Pokemon Emerald, but still, who is putting themselves through all that? What, are you trying to impress the mailman or something? Also, in Ruby and Sapphire, there's a glitter mail on a Skitty that you get for trading a Pikachu, who is only found 5% of the time in the Safari Zone. I mean, what is going on here? Speeding ahead to the 3DS era, Game Freak actually implemented some safeguards just in case you didn't have Pokeballs at a point when you were forced to catch a legendary. Rayquaza in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is a great example of this, as Zinnia will provide you with Ultra Balls before the battle if your bag is empty. This trend continued in Sun and Moon, as Lily will offer 10 Pokeballs if you've run out before the fight with Solgaleo or Lunala. But I bet most of us missed out on these, because come on, we all prepare for legendary battles. Unless you're Leroy, who can catch a Mewtwo in just one Ultra Ball. Man, that clip is still crazy to this day. Oh, and there's also some hikers in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee who, if you have less than 10 Pokeballs, will donate some more in Mount Moon and the Rock Tunnel. Now, I'm sure most of us know about the weak siblings from Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, as they give out an item at a certain location depending on what day it is. However, did you know that after meeting all 7 of them, you can go back to each sibling's location and receive the various ribbons? Okay, maybe all you ribbon enthusiasts did, but I didn't. And to my knowledge, there's nothing in the game that really tells you to do this, so even though ribbons technically aren't items that go in your bag, I still found them worthy enough to include here. The Kalos region also wasn't clear of these niche items, as a scientist in Trevor's house, girl in Coryway Town, and Hexmaniac in Killude City will reward you with a revive for showing them a Pokemon that knows Eerie Impulse, Nuzzle, or Petal Blizzard respectively. Now, you might have Eerie Impulse Impulse or Petal Blizzard on one of your mons, but Nuzzle is a somewhat weak move to still have on your way to the 8th gym, so it'd shock me if many people got that revive, especially since you can always just buy them in the Pokemart. Also, see what I did there by saying it'd shock me? Because, you know, Nuzzle's an electric type move. Yeah, I should stop making videos. Similarly, a scientist in Office Building 3 of Lumio City will hand over a star piece if he sees a Pokemon with either the Aroma Veil, Flower Veil, or Sweet Veil ability. And taking into account that only 3 evolution lines in X and Y get these abilities, I doubt this scientist got much company. Back in the Gen 2 remakes, we got more trading and rematching, beginning with Brock in Diglett's Cave. First off, he'll only be here on Saturdays between 5 and 8 PM after defeating him in battle. He wants a Bonsly in exchange for a Rhyhorn holding a Pasho Berry, but Bonsly can only be obtained by breeding Sudowoodos holding a Rock Incense, while Rhyhorn can easily be found in Victory Road. There's also easier, repeatable methods to get your hands on a Pasho Berry, so why would anyone want to do this? Furthermore, just like the trainers in Pokemon Crystal, Picnicker Aaron will award you with a Calcium after winning the second rematch on Route 46. Oh, and 3 people outside the Pokeathlon Dome will lend you some rare candies if you've dashed, jumped, and tackled 1,000 times in the Pokeathlon. Yeah, you gotta get your team a 6-pack before getting those candies. Sailing to Unova, you can get a free soda pop by answering all the questionnaires, and rare candy for completing every survey request in the Passerby Analytics HQ, no matter which game you're playing. Yes, this is simple but tedious, and who really spends a lot of time in this building anyways? As for the sequels, a girl in Aspertia City has an Ultra Ball waiting for you after receiving the first badge, and the fan club chairman in Icarus City has a King's Rock with your name on it, only if you get a Pokemon up 99 levels. Fortunately, you can find one with no extra requirements in Nuvema Town. Lastly, for Generation 5, in Village Bridge, Baker Chris gives you a Lumberry in Black and White 2 if you own a Pokemon with the Honey Gather ability. But this can only be done during the post-game, and Village Bridge is a mandatory area to pass through during the main storyline, so it's unlikely that you'd come by again after becoming the champion. Taking yet another stroll through Johto, the guard that originally provides you with Spearow to deliver that letter to the sleeping dude on Route 31 will reward you with an HP up after doing so. Once again, nothing in the game hints at the fact that you should go back to the guard, so I found it interesting enough to include. Something that is definitely going to be in this video though is the big Snorlax decoration in Gold and Silver. For those that don't know, you have the option to let your mom save some of your prize money after each battle, 25% to be exact. Now the Snorlax will be triggered when you've saved up 100,000 Pokédollars, but because she may randomly purchase one of the cheaper items first, depending on if your savings amount is a multiple of 2,300, I don't really know, Bulbapedia's smarter than me. That makes it quite tricky to get. Rounding out the Hoenn region, we've got an easy one and a not so easy one to locate. Upon delivering the Devon goods in Slateport City, you can find this scientist outside the Rustturf Tunnel who will give you a repeat ball. Granted, if you use this path to reach Petalburg later in the journey, you'll probably see this guy, but I'm sure some people missed him. Now, in order to locate a Luxury Ball in the Gen 3 titles, you can take a nice trek to the abandoned ship. Or in Pokemon Emerald, you can win a contest in Lilycove City using a Master Rank Pokemon that already possesses a ribbon of whatever category you're trying to conquer. You choose. The EXP all is more of an honorable mention for this video, but let's be honest, it sucks. Because due to a bug in Pokemon Red and Blue, if multiple mons participate in a battle, you'll actually miss out on some experience that you're supposed to get. So why go through the process of catching 50 different Pokemon to just to be scammed? Keeping things in Kanto, in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, there are a plethora of flower beds throughout the region where only specific types of Pokemon can rarely find pretty wings. I don't understand how you're supposed to know what Pokemon to walk around with in which flower beds without doing some research, so this is definitely one of the most difficult in this video. As we reach the home stretch, guess what? We're back in Pokemon Crystal. Yeah, it seems to be home to a lot of these niche items, which only supports my claim further that many people have never gotten a lot of them, since Pokemon Crystal sold the least amount of copies. Anyways, on Route 45, you can give your number to Black Belt Kenji, who will only give you a PP up if you visit him when he asks over the phone. Hey, maybe he just wants someone to hang out with. And then there's a revive that you can get in the Goldenrod Poke Center. However, there are multiple layers to this. You see, this exchange can only be done in Western versions of Pokemon Crystal, and you gotta give the person Eon Mail. Issue is, that can only be obtained through the Mystery Gift, which obviously isn't available anymore. Honestly, if anyone ever got this specific revive, that would be impressive. To finish things off, I've saved the best for last. In Pokemon Sword and Shield, there's a side quest you can do that involves finding a kid's missing Minccino in Motostoke. Now, usually you'd want to go to the fountain west of the stadium, whistle, and it'll appear. However, if you somehow know to go to the eastern fountain and whistle, you'll find a man inside of it who will give you a fresh water. The crazy thing is, you have to do this in between the time you accept the side quest, but before you find the Minccino. If you don't, then this bottle of fresh water is gone forever. And there you have it. Those are a list of unnecessarily difficult items to obtain in Pokemon, most of which can be found in a much simpler fashion. I had a lot of fun putting this video together, especially since I learned a bunch of things that I didn't know before about some of these games. Now, I would put money on there being more of these instances. To be honest, I didn't even fully check Generations 8 and 9, so if y'all want to see another one of these, definitely let me know down below. If you want to support the channel further, consider becoming a member, as you get some cool perks like videos early and receiving a shout out on the outro screen. For now though, have a great rest of your day, and until next time, deuces!